Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 2 of our team building journey. So as of this recording, I found out that unfortunately the Vancouver regional sign up has already closed, so unfortunately we won't be able to participate in that one, but that's fine. There's still a lot of online tournaments that we can participate in, and I plan to join them and record them so that we can document the journey together and see how that changes our team building. So from the last episode, I haven't played a single game yet, so we are going to jump back in where we left off. Now, as I mentioned at the end of the last episode, I am not making much changes to the team, so I'll just briefly talk through it and then we'll jump right into the battles. So as you can see here, the team is exactly the same. We have Iron Bundle and Pelipper making our Rain Core. One thing to note is that I've got Covert Cloak on the Iron Bundle to prevent the fake outs from opposing Iron Hands. We have Great Tusk and Fluttermane, who, if you guys watched the last episode, performed phenomenally for our team. And lastly, we've got King Gambit, who we haven't brought yet, but I'm sure we'll find opportunities to bring him soon, and Amoongus to round out the comp. So yeah, I think if there's any change that I can think of, we may experiment with Great Tusk's moves. I know he has access to many different moves out there, so we might try out different ones to see how it helps our coverage. Also, out of the 6 that we have here, King Gambit is definitely one that I bring the least, even with my test prior to, playing with this team. So we might think about other Pokemon that can fit in that slot as well. So if you guys have any ideas as to who we can bring in instead of the King Gambit, please do let me know in the description down below. Also, one thing that I forgot to mention last episode is that if you guys like the team and would like to try it out yourself, maybe to experiment or see how to counter it, I'll post the rental code as well as this PokePaste down in the descriptions below, so you guys can check it out there. But yeah, let's just jump right into the battles. Alright, for our first game today, we have what looks like a Series 1 team just adapted with the Roaring Moon, but otherwise it's a pretty standard core. Usually we see Mousehold and Annihilate together, but instead this team has Amoongus. They have the Iron Bundle, Murkrow is pretty standard from Series 1, although we don't see as much anymore, and Goldengo. So I think my opponent's lead would most probably be Murkrow to set up the Tailwind, so I think we want to get rid of that as soon as possible with the Fluttermane. Now, what would be their counters to Fluttermane? I think it would be the Goldengo for sure. So I think we definitely want Pelipper just for the White Guard supports, but otherwise having Amoongus here is also really nice. So I think we're going to lead Amoongus and Fluttermane. As you guys know, that lead has done really well for me. As for the back, I do like Great Tusk here. I think Pelipper could be good. And you know what? Let's give Iron Bundle a go. I think Great Tusk is good, but it has some glaring weaknesses that my opponent can exploit, like for example, Murkrow's Foul Play, or maybe the Acrobatics from Roaring Moon. So I feel like I misrepresented Iron Bundle in the previous one as well, with it dying so quickly. So it's time for a redemption, hopefully. And yeah, as expected, we see our opponent leading Murkrow and Goldengo. I think that is the best lead for them. Now, I'm not super worried considering that we do have the Focus Sash on Fluttermane. Plus, Murkrow is most probably just going to Tailwind here. So I think I'd rather just get the knockout immediately. At the back, I'm wondering whether or not we should Terra here. I think there is no harm in Terraing. I think getting that damage outright is more important. So let's just do that. And here we can spore the Goldengo. I think... Oh, but Goldengo has good as gold, which means that you cannot spore it. And again, just like last episode with the Purifying Salt, I just remember that you cannot spore Goldengo, I believe. So they do get the Tailwind off here, and I expect to see the Make It Rain. Yep. So this should bring me down to Sash, which is completely fine. I think we should be able to knock out the Murkrow here, but let's just see. Oh, so this is a Life Orb Goldengo, which is good to know. So that's something that we want to keep in mind for the future. Now, Moonblast here should kill unless it's Eviolite Murkrow, but it looks like that's not the case, so we do get the first knockout, which is good. Now, the thing is that we have to play around Tailwind now, though, which is going to be difficult, so... Now, there's no reason for my opponent not to click Make It Rain again. So we definitely do want to preserve the Flutter Mane. I feel like Flutter Mane still has quite some uses. So here, I think I like protecting. And Amoonguss doesn't provide much for me there, so I think switching to Pelipper, having access to Wide Guard and Tailwind would be more beneficial here. So let's do that. Worst case scenario, they Make It Rain, which shouldn't knock out our Pelipper, and I don't think Amoonguss has anything that can deal a lot of damage to Pelipper. Maybe Leaf Storm, but I'm not too concerned about that. So let's see here. I'm expecting the Terra Steel from Goldengo. Oh, it's Terra Flying. Interesting. Okay. In fact, I think that's good for us because now our Moonblast is going to deal more damage since it is no longer a Steel type. Right? So I think that does work in our favor, and as you can see there, Pelipper tanking that like a big boy. Awesome. And yeah, Clear Smogs. Oh, that's actually really smart. So he Clear Smogs there to reset the special attack drops, which makes complete sense. Now here we have to ensure that we knock out the Goldengo, otherwise I think this is going to be a very tough game. So I'm going to hope that he doesn't realize that I have Wide Guard. Yeah, sometimes, you know, with Pelipper not being that common of a Pokemon in this meta, people tend to forget that it has access to Wide Guard. So yeah, hopefully the Goldengo uses Make It Rain again, which yeah, saves our Flutter Mane, and that is the case. So we read that one correctly. Now we just have to hope that Flutter Mane does take down Goldengo. Otherwise, we're going to be still in a difficult situation. So let's see here. So it will take it down. Flutter Mane going clutch once again, and yeah, that was a 50-50 read. I think my opponent, again, was not expecting Pelipper to bring out the Wide Guard, and that is not a common move on Pelipper, I think, because most Pelippers, you know, bring Protect instead. But yeah, Wide Guard has been working wonders for me in this team, and as you can see here, if Flutter Mane is protected well, it's really hard to deal with this Pokemon just because of how fast it is. So now we know that they don't have Terra anymore, and they only have one turn of Tailwind left, so here let's just play it safe and protect. I think, again, Pelipper is not in that big of a danger, so let's just burn some sleep turns here. So this turn, Pelipper is guaranteed to sleep, which is fine. I don't think there's much that that Annihilate can do anyways. Drain Punch, that's even better. I was maybe afraid of a bulk up, but yeah, knowing that now their turns are over, their tailwind turns are over, we can just deal one last damage. Now, after we chip Annihilate, do we have enough damage for it? Yeah, I think so. Considering we can redirect attacks. Now, I think here I'd like to save Fluttermane a little bit more just because of how strong it is. And our Amoonguss is still looking really healthy, so let's just let Amoonguss tank some of that damage. And on Pelipper's end, hopefully we wake up here and we can deal some nice damage to that Amoonguss. Now, once we break through the Amoonguss, I think Annihilate is going to be pretty easy to deal with. So that's what we have to focus on. Now, Drain Punch is not going to do a lot to Amoonguss, so that's great. Unfortunately, Pelipper is still asleep, but this is fine. Now we can put Spore Pressure onto that Annihilate. And again, here we just want to Hurricane the Amoonguss. We could target the Annihilate as well, considering that it is their main source of damage, but I'd rather just not deal with Amoonguss's Rage Powder and Spore. So let's see what my opponent's going to do. It looks like he decides to bulk up now, which is completely fine considering we also have Clear Smog. So as you can see here, our two support Pokemon are the true MVPs of this game, despite Pelipper falling asleep, still being asleep, sorry. Question is, what is that Amoonguss gonna do? So Amoonguss is just going to be dealing damage to our Amoonguss, which is completely fine. Now, I think here, since there's really not much else that we can do, maybe we can just, considering that Annihilate is going to be asleep for sure this turn, let's use this time to heal Pelipper. So how Pollen Puff works, besides it being a damaging move, if you target your own ally, then you heal it with 50% health instead. So that's a nice, double use type of move. So we're going to heal here, and I expect the opposing Amoonguss to go for another sleep. Oh no, just goes for the Pollen Puff himself as well. And so as you can see, Amoonguss can be annoying here. So I think, you know what, while that Annihilate is asleep, I'd rather just kill the Amoonguss first. So we're going to clear Smog to get rid of that bulk up. Good thing he's still asleep. And yeah. Oh, that's a lot of damage. Yeah, that was a critical hit. I did not think that would have killed, so we got kind of lucky there. And with this clear Smog, Annihilate will no longer have his stat buffs. And with Fluttermane and Iron Bundle in the back, I think we are in a good position to take this one. So yeah, I think overall we played pretty well here. Now, of course, that Gholdengo looked scary and could have been scary. I should have just remembered that Gholdengo and Garganacl are both immune to status moves. And that's something that I have to watch out for. But yeah, that's a big reason as well why you would use that Pokemon, right? Because they're just, immune from all of these status effects that some other Pokemon might struggle against. And so whereas Amoonguss is really strong against some offensive Pokemons to Gholdengo, that's not a problem. Now here with Rain already ending, I do want to reset it so we can use Hurricane just for safety measures. So we're going to switch in Fluttermane. Worst case scenario, Fluttermane gets knocked out here, which is completely fine. Oh wait, that's not going to be possible since we Rage Powdered, right? Annihilate woke up. It's confused. I hope he hits himself. Unfortunately for him, he hurts himself in confusion. So yeah, I think we got quite lucky there with the critical hits, with the confusions. But I think even if our opponent hits, it wouldn't have done much damage. I think here we can just heal our Flutter Mane if our Flutter Mane does not fall. But yeah, Moonblast should do the trick. And with that, I think that is a pretty clean game one. So yeah, like I'm still really happy with this team. I think whereas last episode we showed off how strong this team can be offensively, in this episode, at least in this first game, we showed the power of Amoonguss and Pelipper, you know, with the Wide Guard, with the Rage Powder. It makes frail Pokemon such as Flutter Mane really hard to deal with for my opponents. So yeah, with that being said, I don't think there's any changes that we need to make to the team, so let's just keep battling and testing it out. Alright, so for game 2, my opponent has a lot of pink Pokemon with Screamtail, Iron Valiant, Tinkaton, Iron Hands, Arcanine, and Gastrodon. Now, Gastrodon has always been a challenge for my team just because under Rain, it almost is impossible to deal with, right? Yes, Freeze Dry could be good, but a lot of Gastrodon's Terra Fire nowadays, so that's something that I have to be really careful of. Now, looking here, considering that they have 3 fairy types, I really like Kingambit, and I think there's no better team to bring Kingambit against. Now, if I was my opponents, I would definitely bring the Iron Hands and the Iron Valiants, because they are fighting types and it's super effective against Kingambit. So I think, again, we want to protect it. Now, I think Amoonguss could be a good supportive mon here, just because it can tank almost everything outside of the Arcanine, probably. And then I do like Iron Bundle here for the Freeze Dry again, but also just general damage. And I think here we have to bring the Great Tusk. As you guys remember from the last episode, Great Tusk is great against the Iron Hands and Arcanine core. So let's put that on display once again. So yeah, I'm feeling pretty good. I think my opponent, it's pretty straightforward what they're going to bring. Yeah, I do expect the Gastrodon. I do expect the Iron Hands as well. Now, if I was my opponent here, one thing that I do have to be careful of is Earth Power from Gastrodon, as well as just straight up Drain Punch from the Iron Hands. Now, we brought Kingambit on to deal with the fairy types, right? And since they don't have that here, I think we should probably bring Kingambit out. Let's swap it for Iron Bundle and let's keep ourselves safe by Rage Powdering here. Now, worst case scenario, they fake out the Amoonguss, but I doubt Muddy Water, Ice Beam. Okay, they just switched out. But yeah, I doubt anything that Gastrodon can do can kill Iron Bundle in one shot, so I think we're fine. Alright, so my opponent did read that Kingambit switch really well, but it looks like they decided to go for a passive turn as well. So Great Tusk would have been in a really good position here. But I think overall we're still okay. Now that Iron Hands can't really deal much damage to the Amoonguss, so I guess worst case scenario, they Terra Grass here to avoid Rage Powder or Spore, and they go into my Iron Bundle. But I think I'm okay with that. Oh, okay, so there's no Terra, which means that the damage is going to go into Amoonguss. So I think even though they protected there, I think it should be fine. Now Hydro Pump will go to Arcanine. And what's this going to be? Drain Punch? Yep. So I'm sure he targeted the Iron Bundle. Now with that protect out of the way, I have a feeling if I was my opponent here, I would definitely switch out Arcanine to go back into Gastrodon, just to cover that water type move. So I think here we're going to predict the switch. Yep. Oh, he switched he switched Iron Hands instead for Gastrodon. Okay. That is completely fine. Ooh, but this means that Arcanine is going to have a free Flare Blitz, which is not good. Oh, Flamethrower instead. Okay. Yeah, I don't love this. Now what can we do here? We're in a difficult position here. I'm tempted to Freeze Dry. And my opponent is going to attack again. Now, yeah, I think I have to play it safe and Rage Powder here. Which means that Mungus is gonna fall. Now let's see who Terras. It's most probably going to be the Gastrodon into the Terrafire. This is rough for us. I think at this position, I should have just sacked Iron Bundle. Because now instead, Iron Bundle is not going to really deal much damage and it's going to fall. So my opponent played it out really well. We predicted the switches right, but not at the right positions, unfortunately. So I guess the one good thing... Okay, let's see. Iron Bundle's not going to die here. So Iron Bundle has to go full support now. Great Tusk is going to be our main damage dealer. Now, the threats from my opponent's end is definitely a Will-O-Wisp from Arcanine. So what we're going to do is we're just going to lower the speeds. At this point, I just want Iron Bundle to die. We don't want to switch in our Pokemon in the back. And here I think we can just Headlong Rush into the Gastrodon probably. Yeah, because once Gastrodon dies, then Iron Bundle can put some offensive pressure once again. And I'm predicting Arcanine to go with Will-O-Wisp. So I think if we can kill the Gastrodon in one hit, which I'm pretty sure Great Tusk can, then we should have a pretty good turn here. Now let's take a look. Of course, there's Speed Fell, which guarantees that we go first, and we do knock out the Gastrodon, which is huge. And now let's see. Hopefully, Arcanine. The best play that Arcanine can do here is probably to Flare Blitz the Iron Bundle. Let's see if that's what he does. He Will-O-Wisp into our Great Tusk. So we read that absolutely great. And yeah, I think now we are in a pretty good position once again. Now their last Pokemon is the Tinkaton. Now Tinkaton has Fake Out. So here I just want to double up into the Arcanine slots. So whoever he doesn't Fake Out is going to be able to kill the Arcanine. And best case scenario, he fakes out the Iron Bundle. But because we have Covert Cloak, we are not going to be flinched. And we'll get a double knockout here. That is the hope. But yeah, what would my opponent's best play be? Okay, he fakes out the Great Tusk, which is definitely the right play, but we should knock out the Arcanine here. Perfect. So yeah, getting rid of that Gastrodon was definitely a huge play on our end, and that's definitely what we needed. I brought Great Tusk in the end, and not Fluttermane or Pelipper, just because I had a feeling that he is going to go for that Terrafire, because that is his best play, and Gastrodon was my biggest counter. So by just thinking about who your biggest problems are, it really helps you plan better, right? As to who you should focus on during the battle. So now here, I am predicting the fake outs into Great Tusk. So I think here I'd rather conserve Great Tusk, and let's just switch in King Gambit. So this is going to be their last fake out turn. And again, right now, we don't need King Gambit, really. We just need Great Tusk to be safe. And so my hope is that... Oh, okay. My hope is that Iron Bundle falls here. Let's see. That's some nice chip. He's just going to knock off, which is fine. Okay. Interesting. I did not expect him to protect there. So here maybe we can just Icy Wind. Huh. Yeah, King Gambit is not very useful here. I think we can just, again, deal as much damage as possible right now. I don't think we need Icy Wind pressure, and let's just Sucker Punch into the slots. He decides to feint, that's fine. I think he was predicting the protect, but at this point, there's no reason for us to protect, because we want one of them to fall so that our real carry can come back in. Now, the Drain Punch, that will heal lots, which is unfortunate. But the good thing is that our Iron Bundle is still alive, so we can still deal some damage here. Now, we know that Tinkaton is generally quite passive, or a supportive Pokemon, rather. So I think as long as we land our Hydro Pump here, the game should be over, because we should get the kill on the Iron Hands. Now, if Iron Hand detect, I think even if Iron Hand protects here, I think we're okay. Because Tinkaton is most probably, his best play is to kill my Iron Bundle, which is totally fine. Now let's see who he targets though. Just knock off, okay. And we have Assault Vest, which does not matter in this case anyways, because they're both physical attackers. So that's fine. And I think my opponent is disrespecting the Iron Bundle. I think if you're my opponent, you would definitely want to just Gigaton Hammer or Iron Head, whatever steel move that they have into the Iron Bundle. Oh, unfortunately our Iron Bundle missed, but hopefully this will take the one-hit KO. Yes, it will. Great Tusk once again prevails. And I wouldn't say that Iron Bundle was useless here, but his ability definitely was, you know, halted, for lack of better word, by the Gastrodon. But yeah, it didn't matter in the end because Great Tusk is just an absolute monster, and with Terra Fire blocking the Will-O-Wisp, it allows us to deal that much more damage. And unfortunately, Salts on the wound, we get the Freeze 2 on the Tinkaton. Yeah, unlucky to my opponents, but in the end, I don't think there was much that he could do. So once again, great job. Sorry to Nicole. But yeah, we managed to stay perfect with a 4-0 record so far. So yeah, I think this team is going really well. Quite frankly, right now, I don't see any changes that needs to be made. So I think we're going to rock out with this team for a little while longer. But yeah, this time around, we showed a little bit more flexibility to the team, right? On the first game, we had Pelipper and Amoonguss doing phenomenally, supporting Fluttermane, and in the end, you know, we were able to get the win there. And then in the second game, even though we struggled a little bit with Gastrodon, which is something that my team has a hard time dealing with, being a rain team, but in the end, Great Tusk is still able to pull the weights, and we got a little glimpse of Iron Bundle there. So I think with the 4 games that we've played so far, it's the King Gambits that I'm not too sure about, and we need to figure out whether or not that 6 slot works best for him there. So if you guys have any suggestions for me as to who I should replace King Gambit with, please do let me know in the comments down below. But yeah, otherwise, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.